Welcome back to the Joe Mobley Show. We are late. I am not doing all of the prim and proper things because I'm over it and it's my Friday night. So we're just going to get started. Outspoken Samantha, how are you?
I am doing surprisingly well, seeing as we've had yet another assassination attempt against the president. I know
Yeah.
that that's not something we were planning on talking about. Why is everybody frozen? I know that's something that we weren't planning on talking about, but I'm just kind of blown away that that's like gone from the news cycle, gone from social media already. So I'm just sitting here bewildered.
Yep. I feel that. Grid one. Oh, you are muted. Guest has muted themselves. Looks like you muted yourself, buddy.
I did. I was
There
trying
we
to be
go.
polite. Yeah, those are inconvenient truths, Samantha. That's why they don't want to talk about that at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, doing well tonight. How are you, Joe? I know you've been on a lot today, so
Yeah, a little bit. But
yeah.
speaking of being on a lot, Outspoken Samantha's on all the time, every Thursday night, actually. I think this is your first time on, so tell the people who you are, what you do.
Yeah. All right. I'm online. I'm Grid One Motorsports. I have a channel on YouTube that's growing called An Unreasonable Man. It is basically I divide it between two. There are two aspects of it. The first is I do a daytime show, which is mostly politics um, and finance and that sort of thing. More of a daytime show. And in the evenings, I have more of a lifestyle, worldview kind of show. I do the daytime show currently Mondays and Thursdays at noon Central Time, and I do the evening show at 8 p.m. Central Time, Wednesday, Friday, Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday. And that's just kind of the schedule for now.
Awesome. And as always, Outspoken Samantha is on the Rumbles, on the YouTubes. Make sure that you guys like, share, and subscribe over there. Actually, I don't even know if I did a description for this show because I was literally just kind of feeling over it today. So there might be a link in the description. There might not be a description. I don't even remember. But that's, yeah, I mean, oh, wait, there's a name. There's a title for this show. What is it? Oh, no, I just don't know anymore. Yeah,
I guess we'll
yeah.
talk about stuff.
Yes, I guess we'll talk about stuff. There's way too much lime juice in this tea YouTube that I'm drinking for my Thursday, Friday night. Speaking of that, YouTube, this is for sure. I don't even know why people say educational purposes. I mean, this is really more like entertainment purposes. Right? Right. Well, you brought up, Samantha, you brought up the assassination attempt. So we gotta why don't we just wildly speculate? Now, which are we talking about? Bomb hoax, which I've got some ideas about that because it doesn't quite smell right. I talked about this morning. Or are we talking about golf shooter guy?
You know, it's kind of wild that we have multiple to pick from now. Like the Trump assassination attempts or the attempts on Trump's life is now like a multiple choice question. So
Yeah.
this isn't okay. This is not okay. Either or. I really haven't read any more about the bomb threat situation since I kind of briefly touched on it on my live stream the other day. I just want to know because I think they had said that they were training bomb sniffing dogs in the area. And I'm like, did they have nowhere else that they could have done that besides like right next to the Trump rally? I mean, is there like a bomb sniffing like dog park practice area that just happens to be right there? I don't understand.
I
So,
think the
okay.
story's changed like 3 times on that. First, it was that that nothing happened at all. It was all a mistake, all badly reported. Then that story changed to yes, there were two devices found. And the car thing is the most confusing because Yes, there were explosives in the car. Supposedly, the they were keeping the police dogs away from it because it was some kind of a training thing. And but a private citizen supposedly was training their dog to as a bomb sniffing dog, and that dog alerted on it, and that guy then alerted the police, and it just there's I don't know that we'll this is another one of those things we'll never know the truth to, because there's so many stories. It's changed already like at least three times, maybe four. I may have missed one. It's very interesting in a lot of different ways. They also, in Arizona, I believe it was, they had there's a potential of a chemical attack where I think 20 or so attendees, I guess we'll call them, that were actually behind the stage or somewhere around the stage, were had eye irritation and that sort of thing, blurred vision. Yeah, there it is right there in Tucson. So yeah, it was 20 of them actually, I guess, not 12. But at any rate, and these stories always, of course, they're always evolving, but it's really interesting when we really start looking and digging into this stuff, how the facts kind of come out, and they're modified to fit specific key points, my opinion. It's crazy. It's crazy. Like, did somebody like put something in the air? They're talking about maybe it was something that was on something people touched, and then they touched their eyes, and then that's what the irritation was. I don't know.
Well, one of the ER workers that saw one of the ladies who went in several days later, she said it looked like, and she had documented this in the medical reporting, that it looked like she had been sprayed in the face with something, a chemical irritant. Yeah, so who the heck knows what's going on? But I want to jump back to this one for a second. Exactly what you guys said. It's weird. The story's weird with the bomb thing because the information has gone out and then been pulled back and then changed and gone out again and pulled back. So yeah, what we know as a fact is there actually is a car. There is a car that was left inside of the secure area. So it's true to say that they set up barriers and someone breached those barriers with a vehicle, moved the barriers, drove in a vehicle, maybe put the barriers back. The police aren't telling us that, but someone breached the secure perimeter that law enforcement had established. And that's kind of just going away. Now that happened, folks. And that vehicle had a big mysterious blue barrel in it. Just like in my VBID training, vehicle-borne IEDs, it's like one of the textbook things to look for. Blankets and sheets covering things, odd-shaped objects, wires, canisters. Big blue barrel, that's like top 3 choices. Was in there, and it gotten removed from the car. Yeah. Now, the dog hit on it. This was a self-trained dog. Talks about in this article, I pulled some quotes from it. There is a person who's being questioned who may have been training a bomb detection dog near the site, said the commissioner of police. Individual with a bomb dog falsely reported explosives being found, and that individual is currently being detained. So they had put out that they had someone in custody. Apparently, the person that they detained was the dog owner. But the weirdest thing about it is, if you look in this article, and I saw this with initial reports, and I was like, is this going to go away, or are they going to stick to this? That, hold on a second. Oh, man. The initial report of the explosive stuff went out from law enforcement, not from the guy with the dog. Oh, man. Hold on. I have this. On my show planner from yesterday. Okay, I hate myself. I can't find this right now. The initial reporting, there was something to do with 911 reports and law enforcement, Nassau County Police Department. These are some of the famed NYPD on the side of the car guys. They had sent out to the media the bomb stuff, not the guy with the dog. He didn't flag down law enforcement and say, hey, my dog hit on this, and then call the police or call the media and issue these reports. The police issued those reports, and then they pulled them back. So there's just a lot of weirdness with it.
Yeah.
From a crisis communication standpoint, it's very suspect. And like one of you guys said earlier, we're never going to hear what actually happened. We're never going to know what these people were affected by. We're just not going to know. They're not going to tell us.
Well,
it would be very odd for it to happen. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Sorry. No, go ahead.
I was just saying it's going to be very odd if anything ever comes to light about this, because there's just so much it's being kept out. I wouldn't say redacted, but just changed.
They don't have to tell us, so they're not gonna tell us.
Yeah, and they have no interest, right? Like they're really. I don't know that they have any interest in this, because they're really trying to downplay all of this. And by they, I mean, to kind of define that is the mainstream media that's more or less leftist controlled, have no interest in portraying real threats towards Donald Trump. They've already endorsed, whether they want to admit it or not, they've already endorsed the idea that he wasn't actually shot in the first attempt, right? They without co-signing on it, they co-signed on it. The second one, right? They've already, as Samantha very aptly pointed out, it's already out of the press. It's already gone. And this is a card-carrying leftist. This is a legit, political agitator. He's not messing around. This guy's like, he's the real deal. Like if anyone should be in the news cycle 24/7, it should be that guy. And he's not. He's not there.
Yeah.
And now you've got there was no word of the chemical attack for a week. Can you imagine that? Can you even think about it? Like in this information day in our society right now, can you imagine having anyone else in this country go through a chemical attack and it being kept quiet for a week? Well, actually, is it a week or is it 10 days? I don't remember the exact date that that it was actually reported, but can you even imagine that? I can't.
No.
So the mainstream media has no interest in covering any of this at all.
But they don't have to. Their voters are gonna listen to whatever they say.
Right.
Samantha, what were you gonna say?
Sorry, I've been sitting here patiently waiting. No, I was going to say, so when this story first came out, I was live streaming on Wednesday morning, and I saw it just before I went live. So that was Wednesday morning. Hour and a half later, towards the end of the live stream, so about an hour and 15 minutes later, I clicked on the same link again, because I wanted to just briefly touch on the story, even though we didn't have a lot of information. And even in that time, the story had almost completely changed. It had gone from, we have this confirmed bomb threat outside of the Trump rally, to something about training a bomb-sniffing dog. And then in the same article, it said that they didn't have, that the claims of this bomb being in the area were unfounded. But then later in the article, it said that they had found something. So the story changed so quickly. But what I find interesting is that we just spent the last couple of weeks hearing nonstop from the mainstream media how all of these bomb threats were being sent to Springfield, Ohio, because of the things that JD Vance and Trump were saying. It was just repeated how in danger this community was. I think they had gotten up to 33 bomb threats, just repeated. Come to find out, every single one of these was a hoax. It was coming from somewhere overseas or somewhere, outside the country. And at least that's the last I've heard of it. But it's just amazing to me that they can look at this story. If it's a threat toward Donald Trump, they can immediately, oh, it's not that big of a threat. Oh, we can debunk it. Oh, it's nothing to worry about. If it's a threat coming from Donald Trump, it will stay in the media for weeks nonstop, and they will milk that as long as possible. And it's like, you guys clearly have the ability to verify this information very quickly when you want to. But when you don't want to, or it serves a completely different purpose, then it just gets completely different treatment.
To tie a pretty little bow on this is the same media when Donald Trump got shot in the side of the head, plain as day to everyone, that said that it may have been glass from an invisible teleprompter that no one could see and that might have ricocheted off and hit him. It's just like, are you guys serious? A fireman got shot in the head. Like, are you serious? What are we? But they're allowed to do it, just like the political elites and the social elites. Hashtag P. Diddler going to prison for, I don't know, maybe 800 years is what my money is saying. They operate with impunity, and so does the media. They're just like, just tell them whatever you want to tell them. What are they going to say to us? We're mainstream media.
I'm just waiting for the narrative to switch from gun violence to exploding teleprompter violence, because apparently that's something that's happening right now.
Yeah, honestly.
I hadn't heard that about the teleprompter, but I did hear a lot of people saying, that didn't happen. He didn't get shot. It was staged.
It was unbelievable. They were trying to say he didn't. Yeah, he did get shot. Oh, did you hear the gel pack one? That he went down, the secrets, he had gel packs in his hat. Give me a break. Oh, man. Yeah. So, some conspiracies.
Well, the reason they do it is because they know there are people that are going to believe it. And those are usually the people that end up in our comment section.
The 100%. I've even seen that actually repeated many times, that it was glass from the teleprompter. Like, there was no teleprompter.
CNN reported that, yeah.
When has Donald Trump ever used a teleprompter?
Yeah. it's interesting that and kind of cute that they think that he would follow directions so well. Yeah, it's interesting stuff for sure.
Well, in the spirit of lightheartedness, Mr. Guns and Gear, great account if you guys don't follow him on X. He retweeted this, which Elon Musk, you still got to do something, bro. It's called X, but they're still called tweets. Anyway, he retweeted this, and the challenge is 3 words to describe this. So we'll all take it, and I had to see it, so you do too. Let's just take this in together. This is beautiful and brave, by the way. Just so, if you're a podcast listener, you're welcome, because you can't unsee this once you see it. But,
when you can, give when you can, smile when you can, cry when you can.
Yeah, I could cry right now. All right, well, I don't know.
Is that a spoof?
We want to go ladies first. This is just look at stick the landing, my guy. This part's my favorite. This little jump part right here. Yeah, 3 words. Anybody want to go first?
Delusional, disconnected, lonely.
Okay.
Transgender studies failed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mine are beautiful and brave, and definitely a dude. So I'll say masculine, beautiful, brave, and masculine. Yeah, that's what I see when I look at the. Now, if I had believed all of the corporate training that these big companies in the military put you through, then those would be the accurate words. This is masculine. This is beautiful. This is brave. Unless what we're looking at identifies as a woman, then this is definitely feminine and still beautiful and brave.
I mean, I have to wonder, is this person being serious? Like, from what we can tell?
I don't think this guy's a troll, because the one
Okay.
guy, the bachelor guy who's been wearing the dresses, he's obviously a troll. But
Yeah.
this level of self-deprecation is maybe a bridge too far. You know,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
I
that's
make
not
fun of
cool.
myself in public. I don't know that I'm doing this.
Yeah. Well, I feel like this is an example of when we don't ground people in reality and we encourage them in things that are a waste of their time. And, it's something that they've come up with in their brain. It's a dream or, something that they have going. They're like, this is what I want to do. And someone's like, you should totally just do that.
Yeah.
And it's not beneficial to this person at all. I mean, this is what happens when you just lie to people and let them think that whatever they want to do and however they want to waste their time and whatever they have going on in their head is reasonable. And regardless of what it is, it's a beneficial way to spend your time. I don't know. It just seems like this guy is completely lost, and he doesn't have enough people in his life to step in and be honest with him.
Yeah, he had someone who filmed this for him. What a friend.
Yeah.
That face.
Nothing but sad.
Yeah.
Nothing but sad.
Honestly, just today, I just felt like watching videos like that. I did not feel like reading the news. I did not feel like being on the edge of my seat to see if Donald Trump survived another day, like,
Right.
I mean, they are playing whack-a-mole with this guy right now. And if there were any doubts that the first, actually, technically, I will say the first attempt, the second attempt, just because it's the current lexicon. The first attempt against Donald Trump was perpetrated by that British kid in 2016. He tried to disarm a police officer in Vegas and shoot Trump. So really we're on second, third, and fourth bomb thing
That we know
I don't-
about.
Yeah, exactly. But I'll just say, Crooks being the first and other butthole guy being the second. They still haven't caught the Kentucky shooter, the Kentucky I-75 shooter. He's still on the run from multiple federal agencies, state agency. He's out running dogs, helicopters, infrared, drones. So I fully expect that he will just pop up in Trump's backyard at some point, and they'll be like, "We couldn't have seen this."
He's just a
coming."
redneck. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
just a redneck.
He's
Just
a
a redneck.
he's a redneck plus. He was a combat
Just a
engineer.
redneck doing redneck things.
Yeah.
Just a redneck doing redneck things.
Mhm.
He'll show up somewhere. He'll go to some truck stop or something. They'll be like, "Aren't you the guy?" I think his name's Joseph something.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of with you on, like, I was really struggling to read the news today. I felt like I was just getting a headache. And honestly, this guy that we just watched, I feel like I might be a little bit jealous of the whatever fairy princess
Whatever he's
world
on.
he is living in right now, because he
You might
seems
ask
to be
him for his
doing.
prescription.
Yeah, he seems to be doing. He's a little bit happier, a little bit more carefree, pretending that he's a 110-pound ballerina dancer. So maybe we should just take a page out of his book and just start living in this alternate universe where these things just aren't happening.
You know what? October is right around the corner. I could dress up as him for Halloween. You think? Where can I
That
get
would
up
be-
like this?
That's
That
a
would
bold
be
strategy.
He almost falls.
Oh,
Oh,
well, and
man.
it's hard because, and not that I
Ooh,
mean, this is definitely worth all levels of mockery, but I also at the same time, like, I feel bad for him. Like, this guy is not clearly in need of help that he's not getting. So
Can I be
I don't know.
honest?
Actually, that might be the result of the help that he's getting.
That's
today's
true.
society.
He probably went to some kind of gender affirming psychologist and they're like, this is how you should spend your life. And he was like, great.
He probably went in for an overactive thyroid, need a little weight loss help, comes out like this.
Yeah.
Man, he really lucked out because look at this. This cinder block breaks right here.
Oh.
Eh,
Yeah, he he
eh.
really lucked out there. There's some people that when I see them, I wonder how they use the bathroom. And he's not quite that big. There's definitely bigger, but I'm definitely wondering about the man action because I mean, this is a tight little leotard or whatever we got going on here. I don't want to look too hard, but
I
yeah.
don't want to look at all.
Yeah, let's
I'm in
move
that
on
mode.
to let's move on
I'm
to
I was Samantha on this one. We're good.
you
on that.
added Jasmine Crockett. So Yasmin. And can
Yeah.
I just say, black people, can we stop being weird about our names? Like if it's a normal name like Jasmine, don't call it Yasmin, and or don't do I went to basic with these chicks. One of their names was Quantifaria. The other one was now Monicia. That was kind of a normal name. I had heard that before. Oh, but what was Private Hall? What was your first name? It was something ridiculous, like 8 syllables. I was like, what the what? Anyway, sorry. Take it away, Samantha.
No, that's okay. Jasmine Crockett, she was trending on Twitter today, and she is somebody that, you know, we see what happens between what has been happening at a federal level with the presidency going against, Donald Trump going against Joe Biden as a dementia patient, and then going against Kamala Harris, who I don't know what her excuse is. She doesn't have dementia, but we still can't understand a thing that she's saying most of the time. So we've got these two people that have pretty much turned the presidential race into a clown show. It's just a very unserious thing, and it makes me really sad. But in all levels of government, it just seems like we have these people that have just taken all seriousness out of all levels of office. And I would say Jasmine Crockett probably falls into that category. She is a congresswoman from Dallas, Texas. So unfortunately, I do have to claim her. She is practically in my backyard. But she has become known for her outbursts in Congress, for yelling at people, for getting into it with Marjorie Taylor Greene. And to me, she's just a clear example of, the product of our public education system, of these DEI teachings and indoctrinations, and kind of an example of what happens the more that, the kids that are growing up now, what we can expect kind of on a widespread level through all areas of government and political activism. She just kind of represents that. So there were just a couple of clips that were circulating about her today. And one of them was about her yelling about not being able to accept that we have to choose between a white guy and a black woman, even though it's questionable whether Kamala Harris can call herself black. And then another one where she is literally calling Donald Trump and all of his supporters a threat to the country. And this is, I believe, just after this second assassination attempt. So, she's just unfortunately one of probably several that we could pick from that is just kind of degrading political office at this point. But as I said, she was trending today, so she just happened to be on my radar. It's not the first time I've seen her, but I just have to shake my head sometimes. These are the people that we elect to represent us. And I think people need to remember that these are just human beings, that just because they're in these positions of power does not mean that they know more than us, does not make them smart. And it proves the reason that we have the system of government that we have, that we don't let them rule us and control us. We ask them to represent us, and that's about it. And we need to limit it to that power.
Oh yeah, they're supposed to be servants. I don't like the way that we say that they're our leaders. It's like no, they're not leaders. We're supposed to tell them what we want done, and they're going to do our bidding. It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, the reality is that a professional politician is absolutely useless. They have no skill other than to get elected.
And
Yeah.
the government doesn't have a job. Like they don't draw an income. They only consume more and more and more. And somehow we've got all this untold billions to cut checks to freaking Ukraine. I'm thinking about becoming an illegal immigrant of the Ukraine and see if I can
We're
scrape off
talking
some
about
of that.
that.
Yeah, just scrape off some of that money and then try and come back to the States.
Yeah.
I think it's already here.
I don't have any of it.
Well, you're not in the right circles, apparently. I think that it's interesting because and Joe and I talked about this at some point. I don't know if it was today or yesterday. It's all blending at this point. But we used to elect politicians based on excellence and success, right? Like they needed to have built a business, served in the military with exemplary service, right? Like not just the average soldier, but they had to be somebody. And now we have professional politicians that a lot of them have never had a job. They don't know what it's like to work. They don't know how to cash a paycheck. They don't know any of the struggles the average individuals have and face every single day. They have no idea. None. Zero. And it's interesting that we continuously elect these people because why would we do that? Why would you elect somebody to put together a budget that has never balanced a checkbook in their life? Like, this is dumb. We have to. We really have to start educating our voters better, and this is what nobody in Congress, at least, nobody wants this. Nobody wants educated voters, because the minute you start educating voters, they start realizing that, hey, politicians are idiots. Like, they're political animals. They are literally Pavlov's dogs. All right.
I think the American people have what's that thing called where you fall in love with your captor, your abuser?
Stockholm syndrome?
Yeah,
Stockholm
the American
syndrome.
we have
Yeah,
Stockholm syndrome, dude. We're just like, punish us some more, abuse us some more, take more of our money, commit more crimes with impunity. We love it. We can't get enough.
Actually, it's the Wizard of Oz. As long as you don't look behind the curtain, you believe what you see. Right? And nobody wants to look behind the curtain.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does. And once you start looking behind the curtain, then, wow, gets real fast. It's really interesting. I've always found it really interesting where these politicians come from and how they get their legend and how they cultivate this the followings that they do, because it doesn't make any sense at all. Gavin Newsom, for example, probably couldn't keep a job pumping gas.
He'd be okay because he's attractive.
He'd be a good waiter. He'd be a good waiter.
The world is different for people who are attractive. He probably would. He would pull a Kamala Harris when she tried to charge the Tesla. She's sitting there holding the gas pump, or the gas pump. Wow, look at me. Sitting there holding the charger like it's a gas pump. You guys ready for her to be president?
No, but I think the point is, like, if they demonstrated the same level of work ethic that they demonstrate in Congress to any other job in the country, like even pumping gas, they would be fired immediately. I mean, these people show up.
Exactly.
Yeah. They show up. They don't have to do anything. Then they just say all of the things that would make us want to vote for them. They all sound like great things, but when we're looking at what they're expected to do, what the job description is. But nobody seems to care, which blows my mind. And that's not going to fly with any other employer. So why does it work for us?
More often than not, they don't even say anything. They have other people say things for them and they just agree so that later when they say, but you said this, they can say, no, I didn't say that. I just agreed with his position. And obviously he was wrong. Like, this is politics. Like, this is there. It's the craziest thing ever. Like, Shakespeare said, first we kill all the lawyers, but he was wrong. First, we kill all the politicians, and then we go to the lawyer. Which obviously a lot of it's kind of the same thing. But he was wrong. Shakespeare got it wrong. The politicians are way worse.
Yeah.
So I would personally, I would love to see measures passed in Congress that you had to have actual time in service, like, and not like kind of sort of served. I mean, like actually served in the military, or you had to be like Trump, having had success and failure in business or something like that. Obviously, that's hard to quantify, but that is the way we used to elect our politicians. We elected politicians because we knew that they could get the job done, because it was a job. And remember, it didn't pay anything. Right. like it didn't actually pay anything. And now you've got people who work 18 or 20 days of the year, and they make massive amount of money. And the entire rest of the time they're campaigning. Like, they never stop campaigning. They're annoyed if they have to spend.
Campaigning is like the biggest portion of their job. It's so stupid.
Right. And it's wrong, right? Like, this is exactly the problem. They will, and now keep in mind how many of them do not actually attend all of the congressional assembly, right? A lot of them, and I wouldn't say a majority, but a lot of them will only attend the days they want to. And the rest of the time they're off, and they're gone somewhere. Like, and we pay for them to fly around too. Don't forget that either. It's not like they're driving their Toyota Camrys down there. They're literally, flying at our expense on private aviation or whatever. So this is,
you gotta save the planet, man. Driving those, flying those private jets around.
That's right. Gotta get those.
Sorry, I was just saying to Digital Mining Solutions, thank you very much. I hope you're having a good evening too.
Glenn Lawrence has got an idea here. It's an interesting idea. I'm gonna go with the Warren Buffett. He says that's why our senators and congressmen. Okay, it just got too small for me to read. Let's make it bigger. That's why our senators and congressmen should get yearly review, and if they get 2 consecutive failed reviews, then they should be fired and we should elect someone else. I agree that there should be some performance-based metrics with these elected people. I don't agree with Warren Buffett on a lot, but Warren Buffett, he hit the nail on the head where he said he could solve so many crises in an instant by attaching them to the electability of the members of Congress, who they just call the members. Number one, he was like, I could balance the budget and dig into the deficit immediately in the day. He says the president signs a law. Now, the president can't, because Congress is not going to write this law. President signs a law saying no member of Congress is eligible for re-election unless the budget is balanced and the deficit decreases by at least $1. So we need to start paying off our debt, even if it's stupidly by $1.
No, he's
magically, the budget would be balanced in an instant. Those 435 idiots would suddenly figure it out. They'd be like, oh yeah, we just got to move this here, carry the one, Asians coming in, helping with all the math, and boom, it's solved.
Yep. No, absolutely. I think probably the most exhausting part of it is how little voters care about who they're electing. I mean, everyone is just kind of voting based on the wrong things about their perception of the candidate, about what the mainstream media has said, what the narrative is. Nobody cares about policy. In fact, when you start to talk about policy, so many people just look at you like this deer in the headlights. Like, oh, I'm supposed to think about that? I really liked the speech that they gave, or the outfit they wore, or the celebrity they hired. That's what I That's what I thought mattered. And then everybody walks around wondering why things aren't getting any better. Life is getting harder. Our systems are failing. Our kids are failing. Everything is falling apart. And you're like, well, voting based on what Taylor Swift wanted really didn't get you very far, did it?
Well, I find it really interesting and troublesome at the same time that as you're saying, people don't even understand what policy is. But part of that is because policy is intentionally muddled and it's murky, and they don't want to admit to anything. They don't want to iron anything out. And this is why I think it's really important for some changes to be made. And I think that one of the first things that most people have a really hard time understanding, and I explain this a lot, is that Congress seems really ineffective because they wanted to be ineffective. They ceded as much of their power as they could to the executive branch. They would not pass any laws, and when they did, they were minor. And so to get anything done, the president has to use an executive order. And once he does that, if there's a challenge to it, and there always is, it goes to the Supreme Court. It doesn't go to Congress. So Congress gets to say, not my fault. I didn't do anything. Reelect me, and I'll make the change you want. And this is how weird politics in America has gotten. And of course, the Supreme Court, instead of actually taking the cases that they should be taking, now they have to consider all of these EOs and all of the challenges to them and all of the different stays and such. It's the worst execution of government possible in modern times. It just is. And we shouldn't put up with it as a citizenry. We really should hold our congressmen to task. We need them to vote on bills. We need them to understand the bills that they're voting on. And really, at some point, and I really hope Trump does this, I hope Trump forces an EO through that says that no bill may come before Congress that's longer than 5 pages. Period.
I used to say not necessary. I'm for it. I'm for it now. There's too much crap in the bills. Make it a different bill. Yeah. Pass them as single issues or small groups of issues.
Yeah. These giant bills that have 900 different things that they're trying to spend money on and different pieces of legislation. Or when you name the bill, for instance, hypothetically, the Inflation Reduction Act, but it doesn't actually have anything to do with
it doesn't do with inflation at all.
Right.
Yeah. I love that part.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when you said it's policies have become muddied and complicated, I mean, it's been made complicated and it's not supposed to be. These bills should not be longer than a couple of pages because the issue that we're trying to solve should be very clear cut. So, yeah, it really has just become this piggy bank for Congress and for our government to spend money and to pretend under the guise of actually trying to do things for us.
And it's really easy right now for Congress to just shake their, wave their hands in the air and go, well, I can't do anything about it. It's all somebody else's fault. Or, hey, I had it in this bill, but the bill got struck down because there were 400 other things in the bill and nobody liked 200 of them. So it got struck down. So it makes it really, and look, Congress likes it this way. Congressmen love this because they can't be held accountable for anything. Say, well, I really expected you to vote yes on this or no on that. And they go, well, this other thing was in there and that's really important and we really needed that. And so I had to vote this in this direction. And they always have an out and you can't hold, and so this is why there needs some, and they, now keep in mind that it used to be that bills were very short and clear and concise. That was just proper legal procedure, just like you would go into court. You don't go into court with a 300-page complaint. You go into court because the judge won't read it. He will tell you, fix it and come back to me because I'm not dealing with this right now, right? I'm just not going to do it. Congress used to be that way. But they've learned over time, the more complex they make it, the more they stack on top and sideways and just stuff into the bills and the motions and anything they can, the less responsibility individually that they have. And they don't want it. I mean, they really don't want it because they don't want to be held to task at election time. As very aptly pointed out, they're always campaigning. They spend 18 or 20 days doing their job in session, and the other 340 days of the year, they're campaigning. Why? Why is this? This is not right. This is not how it's supposed to work.
They're not going to fix it themselves.
No.
J Short 88, it's a scam. The house is a scam. Thomas Massey called them out for it last week. Love Thomas Massey, by the way. Mike Johnson is a scumbag. I don't know Mike, but I get the sentiment. Rand Paul had the 5-page rule 10 years ago, and they essentially hated him for it. You're absolutely right. Adamant, you will never have an honest electorate when they control their own salaries. That's so stupid. I don't know how. What a stupid rule. Any parent, any manager, any small business owner knows that is a stupid policy to have. Oh, yeah, set the parameters for your own job. Tell us what you ought to make and then sign it in to company policy. Campaigning needs to be revised. I used to not feel this way. I don't know. Maybe I'm just turning to an old white man. I think there should be caps on spend for campaign. It shouldn't be however rich you are determined. There's a definite correlative relationship between how much money you have or how much funds you have in the war chest and your electability, and that's stupid. Candidates still need to be known, but the system is broken. Lobbying needs to be canceled, compacted, compressed. Could be anything. Yeah, we definitely need some restrictions on lobbying. Don't mind the FBI lack of investigation over here. Trump needs to hire private investigators for this. Let's just be honest.
I'm shocked he hasn't hired his own private security. There's got to be a law or something in place that is keeping him from doing exactly
He
that.
should just hire some straight up mercenaries, dog. I would quit my job today. I got my gear right here.
I was thinking that. I'm like, I know dudes who would do it at a discount.
Yep.
You know? I know some guys, guys that work for, what the formerly great agency of Blackwater that would have no problem doing anything he needed done. And,
I make a decent amount of money. Mr. President, I'd be willing to take a 30% salary reduction. That's as low as I can go. I've read The Art of the Deal. I'm giving you my first best offer. Take it or leave it.
That's funny. That's funny.
I mean, what are they doing? Honestly, that's what I thought when we found out that the guy had a self-trained dog. I'm like, patriots are taking Trump's security into their own hands where we've got civilian bomb tech.
So have you, I don't know how often you troll various message boards or whatnot, but I was trolling some the other day, just rolling through, just looking around. And there's a lot of people like, well, I guess we're all just going to have to show up to the next Trump rally armed.
Yeah, honestly.
I mean, it's a bold strategy. I see where that gets you. That there's only so much it can be done. But I'm actually really shocked, honestly. I think that it's interesting to kind of joke about, but in the seriousness aspect of it, as close as people are getting and as rudimentary as the methods they're using are, it's not a good look right now for national security folk. Right? Like if I was a high speed,
it reveals that it's a sham. It's easy to kill anyone. It's difficult to get away with it or to escape with your life, but it's easy to get to anyone.
Yeah. If I was a high speed, Secret Service kind of guy, operator dude, I'd be really embarrassed. I'd be like, this is horrible. This is absolutely horrible. A guy like just lines right up where a known spot on the green to get pictures. That's a direct line of sight, and there's nobody there. really? Why is that? It just seems like
Well,
the
and
most
he had
obvious.
been there, and he'd been there for 12 hours. Nobody, like, did they not sweep the particular area that is known to be a clear shot, like that people have been known to go to take
Paparazzi are
pictures
always
at? Like
there.
this is an area that is known for people to come to specifically to take pictures of the president golfing. So wouldn't that be the number one area that you would sweep beforehand? The
Maybe
guy
have
had
a guy
been there for
standing
half
there.
a day.
Maybe
Cops are
pay
just
that
walking
guy
around.
to just stand. Yeah.
Oh, hey, what's that guy in the bushes over there? He wasn't there before. Is that a barrel of a gun? Dear sir, is that an AK-47? Turned out it was an SKS.
My word.
Sorry, guys, they look very similar. Give a guy a break, okay? I
They're
tweeted
probably
something.
like, he's pro Second Amendment. He's fine.
Yeah. No, he's got
And
those
have you-
liberal eyes.
Dude, that guy looks like a straight up meth addict too, man. I mean, that's I think that
Can we talk about his access? This guy's pimping all over the world. He's got unfettered access to Europe. He's in Ukraine. He's bringing Americans there, gearing them up to fight. He's in Hawaii. He's on the hill in a suit. He's like, I hate to be the conspiracy guy. The good money is that douchebag number one had help because he had the most coincidental spot in the whole security perimeter, and there's one little sliver that's not secure for some reason, and that's the spot that he picks. He's cruising around with a duffel bag or a backpack or whatever. He wasn't carrying a ladder, folks. I believe the ladder was fixed to the building, but he was open carrying a rifle, which is kind of nuts. He had a rangefinder. I mean, it kind of seems like that was probably an inside joke. It kind of seems like that was probably allowed to happen. But this second guy, there's no way. The access that he has, he's got last minute. He knew Trump was going to be golfing before Trump knew Trump was going to be golfing. He's like, you know what? I'm going to go golf. I'm even thinking, this is how deep my conspiracy brain goes. You know that study that came out, and it came out before Netflix had released that that documentary about being addicted to Facebook, where it said that Facebook knows you're going to go to the bathroom before you do because of pattern of life analyses on people. I'm almost wondering if he was shown the right sequence of images or heard the right series of sounds to be like, I'm going to go for a round of golf, and then magically there's this guy out here. I mean, I don't know. That's how deep my conspiracy brain goes, because you can, through pattern of life analysis, you can influence behavior with a fairly high degree of certainty. And that's just basic social science. That's not even the gender confused nonsense.
It is all interesting, the amount of access the guy had and the amount of things that he did without raising even a single security concern. Right? Like, I don't know. Just interesting. Maybe not. Maybe it's more interesting to me.
There's some debate on Rumble. What say you? We'll start with you, Samantha, on Pennsylvania. Adamant says Trump's got PA in the bag. The non-endorsement from the labor unions and the Teamsters and such is game over. Jay Short says Shapiro and Fetterman won PA. It's not in the bag. Commies at the top run the state. Oh, I didn't know that. Florida shooter was wearing a Brightlink hat or a Brightlink shirt. I missed that somehow. Anyway, what do you guys think about if say we have real elections? What do you think about those key states, Arizona, Pennsylvania, et cetera, et cetera? Oh, a bright pink shirt.
I don't know. I don't know what to think anymore. I mean, we see, of course,
I'm
all
getting
of these
to
polls.
you. Yeah.
What?
I'm getting to you.
To what?
With my
I'm
election. My election beliefs.
Yeah. I know. No, you are. I don't know. I just don't know what to think anymore with all of, I mean, you look at the polls. Oh, sorry, Kat. You look at the polls, of course, they're all either really, really close or, of course, favoring Kamala a little bit. And then you'll see another poll another day, and Trump is up a little bit. It makes me really uncomfortable how close things are. But then you see people doing these, street interviews with people. And there was one in, I think it was Nevada the other day, where the reporter was just shocked that they only found one Kamala Harris supporter in all of the crowd, all the people that they interviewed. I just have a hard time believing that so much of the country is still so blind to what is really going on. That, I mean, I'm optimistic in the sense that I think more people are waking up, but I have so much doubt in our voting system, and how things are going to turn out, and whether the polls are accurate at this point. The goal is to create at least the idea that it's close enough within margin of error that whatever the Democrats poll on November 5th and in the middle of the night or whatever, that they can explain it, that there's, it's not something that would be, shocking if Kamala pulled in a win. So I know that doesn't really answer your question. I don't know what to think right now.
Imperius wants me to ask you if you want to convert. I said Catholicism or believing we don't have elections. He says monarchy. So you think we should go back to having a monarch?
No.
No. I'd be for it. I'm not going to lie. Even though I think our system of government is such a unique and powerfully good form of government. If I could get a righteous king, I'd be down. I'd be down.
Yeah.
If I could get a religious state, and sorry, Imperius, the papacy is not going to do it for me. But man, the art in Vatican City, just one of the most beautiful places on earth. I can't wait to go. Anyway, and I know Imperius is like, we're going to get him. We're going to convert him. I don't know. It is. Oh man, there's not. Have you guys been in the Vatican?
Mm-mm.
Oh, good. I've watched the YouTube tour probably 10 times in the last 2 years. It's just the stuff that they have there, the history, the church history, the art. Oh man, I can't wait. I don't know when I'm going, but I'm going, baby. Sometime I'm gonna be there. Imperius, we'll meet up. We'll meet up in Italy and take in the sights. What say you, Grid One, about the election? The totally legitimate, totally fair election
whether or not
season.
Trump will be president, because those are two different things.
Okay, take it away, man.
So I guess I think Trump's going to win. I think, and I say that because I started paying attention. Well, I've always paid attention to politics, but the last couple of years, I really kind of paid attention to what the left was doing, and I know that they ran at least 2 to 3 tests at influencing local elections. They did one in Atlanta and one in Vermont, and it got caught both times, and easily, handily caught, because of all of the things that resulted from the 2020 election. All the practices have been put into place. They really can't get around them very easily without a lot of detection. They tried, they couldn't do it.
I think they can, because we have election season. That trifecta, you need time and space within to operate. The season gives you that. You need the intelligence. The early voting gives you that. How many ballots where, and you need the criminal intent. Let's be honest. We're talking about the presidency.
I think that they still have decided that they can't do it. They can't influence it enough to win. And that's why I think that we're seeing the full court press to prevent Donald Trump from taking office. Now some of these attempts, I think, are just amateurs, but the others are, I think, legit bad actors. Obviously the one in Pennsylvania, the second one in Florida, those were those were too close, and I think that there was a very real chance, and more than likely the idea is to remove him, and I just don't think that they're going to allow him to. And by they, I mean I actually do mean the DNC itself is not going to allow Trump to do it, and they know that. I think that they feel like they're not going to be able to influence the election in a large manner because of the poll sitters, because of the sheer number of people that are coming out and at polling centers with video cameras, and they're just sitting there watching, waiting for something to happen, and so can it happen? Yeah, I'm sure that something will happen in Atlanta. Okay, for sure.
Burst pipe.
Yeah, something. Yeah, a water main will break under a building because that's where they put those every time. Somehow, I don't know.
Adamant says, "Oh, I lost it. Where did it go?" Outside of military, and I'll add like really extreme medical situations. We don't need early voting or mail-in voting. Yeah. We traded fast, cheap, simple for slow, expensive, and complicated. And now they're telling us, they're priming us to say, with all of the computers and all of this time, it's going to take us a long time to count the votes. So don't plan on knowing who won for some time. This is ridiculous, guys. Are you kidding? Oh,
Yeah.
man.
And Florida's we're done.
The thing is, I just don't think that they'll be able to. I don't think that they're going to be able to steal it, and I don't think that they have confidence in Camel Toe to carry it. And I think that they're right. I don't think she can. I think that there's a very real chance that portions of California that have never gone. Or haven't gone red in decades are going to go red again. I think the same thing is true in Arizona and New Mexico. Although I guess maybe not decades, but recent history, they've been pretty heavily blue, and I think that they're swinging back the other way. Now, obviously, we're going to lose the places that we were always going to lose: Denver, New York, San Francisco, San Diego, and so forth. And that's fine, right? They're already gone. I already count those as gone. But Pennsylvania. The interesting thing about Pennsylvania is Trump sued. They were told that they couldn't sue. Internally, that they did a review, and then they decided that yes, it was actually unconstitutional what they did. So Trump was right all along, and now they put in measures to prevent that.
They didn't hear the cases. That's why I'm so upset when people say, oh, they went to court. In some instances, the judges decided that there was no standing, that the case can continue because there's lack of standing. And at least that's a real thing. In other cases, they just didn't hear it at all. They just, access denied. I mean, as crappy as a summary judgment is, I would rather that to just, we are not going to hear your case for reasons undisclosed.
Well, and I think that it's important to remember that Pennsylvania was one of those where it was very clear that they changed the voting laws to favor a very specific outcome, and they did it unconstitutionally, against their state constitution. And Trump filed a suit against that. The original not prosecutor, but the state's attorney would not go forward with the case. Said, this isn't a real thing. We're not going to do it. That recently has come up, and they've actually the state court, the state Supreme Court found that yes, in fact, it was unconstitutional according to the state constitution.
Hi, I'm Gavin
and
Newsom,
they fixed
the governor.
that.
Hi.
And
sorry.
And so I think that Pennsylvania is on the edge, but I think it's closer to coming to Trump. And I think that he has the votes that he needs. I think Vance really helped. The problem is, after all that's said and done, he's still got to be alive to be sworn in. And I just don't see them allowing that to happen. I can't see it. And the reason for that is because of the danger he poses to the establishment and the status quo. Because now, look, he's not an incumbent. They've tried to kill him. They tried to ruin him. They put him in. They've run him through court. They've cost him millions of dollars. They know what they would do, and they're scared to death that he'll do something close to what they would do. And I just don't think the Democrats will let him. I do not. I don't like saying that out loud. I think that's, and I'm in general not that fatalistic. I just don't see. I would be very surprised if he gets sworn in. Now, if he gets sworn in, all bets are off, because he will, at that point, he'll have full on Secret Service. He will, I mean, it'll be a reckoning.
Well,
I mean, it's going to be a
full on Secret Service.
Huh?
Kennedy had full Secret Service, and they got to him.
Yeah, that's a little different. That's a little different. I'm telling you, if he gets sworn in, I would not be surprised. Day one, he's going to be really calm. Day two, it's going to be Wyatt Earp's vengeance ride. I promise you. Like, he's gonna run them all to the ground. And I endorse that. I endorse this message. So.
Well, I'm getting ready to kick over to the member only show. And Outspoken Samantha, I know you usually punch out for that, so gonna finish out with a totally real video and ad of Gavin Newsom, courtesy of the Babylon Bee. But anything for us before we head out?
Not too much today. I did post another video on my channel today of just a review of a new series out by Disney and Marvel, which is being called the gayest Marvel project yet. So you guys have to go over and check that out.
Wow, I'm excited now.
I know.
I
was really trying to sell it.
Are we gonna need to do a review of this, like a watch live thing?
No, I haven't watched the series. It's just all of the interviews with the cast beforehand talking about this being the most gay series that Marvel has ever released. So that's exciting. So that's what I was working on. And yeah, of course, more content, always trying to get some new stuff out as quickly as possible. Sometimes I talk about things that are really important, and other times I talk about gay series by Disney. So whatever.
I really enjoyed doing that movie review that we did. We need to do that again. We're not going to do the real the Secret Lives of Mormon. What was the name of it again? Oh shoot. It's not The World Is Not Enough. That's the fake name that I always call it. Like Doomsday. Grid. What was the name of that movie? The Obama produced movie. It was on Netflix. Julia Roberts was like, oh geez, it was like I'm not gonna Google this. I
actually don't watch TV, man.
See, I'm sorry. That's why you're retired and I'm not, because you.
I mean, the funny thing is that we reviewed this movie. We reviewed this movie for like an hour and a half, and every time we have brought it up since then, neither one of us can remember what this movie is called.
It's called like Never Doom or something. The world. Something about the world. Julia Roberts says don't trust black people. No. The black girl said don't trust white people. Never mind. They would never. They would never publish don't trust black people. Adamant says they gave a full presidential detail today to Trump, whatever that really means. Yeah, interesting. I did not know that. I'll have to look that up after. Yeah, exactly.
Well, Samantha, it was great once again hanging out with you. You should come on my show sometime. You can get the information from Joe. Joe has all my stuff, so that makes it easy to get a hold of me.
Leave the world behind.
Leave the world behind.
Never heard of it.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, we'll have to have a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. We had a last night on the show was marriage and comparing the different positions on it: Christian, degenerate, or non-Christian, and then I'm drawn.
So dumb.
Hedonist.
It's not exactly a sacrament, but it might as well be. If you're not even religious, if you're not Christian, you shouldn't get married. You're
Yeah. And
you're
Joe
just
wanted
not
to be in
married.
so bad. He
I
kept
did.
commenting.
I wanted to be in so bad, but my wife, she needed a break, and I was juggling the kids. That conversation,
Hey, man,
I
that
felt
was totally
like
cool.
Imperious in the chat. I was like wringing my freaking teeth, dude. Like, and the one guy, he was so close, but he just kept missing the mark. I'm like, oh, you're almost there.
The Christian anarchist
Yeah.
or
Oh,
Anson.
that's fun.
Yeah, Christian anarchist. That's something you don't run into every day.
Yeah, that's interesting. All right. Grid, are you staying around for the member show? It's 30 minutes.
How long is that going to run? What time is it?
It's 30 minutes. You totally don't have to, but
I can stay around for a few minutes.
I'm gonna let
I've been on a lot today. For my day off, I've really been on a lot. So.
I'm gonna let the audience go with this totally real breaking news from the Babylon Bee. The Babylon Bee has obtained this exclusive, official, 100% real Gavin Newsom election ad. Guys, we will leave you with this for your for your listening pleasure. Thanks for watching the show. Actually, before we do that, thanks for watching the show. If you want to see the member-only show, it's actually free. It doesn't cost $5 a month. But if you want to become a paid supporter, thejimmoblyshow.com/join with Samantha in the middle. You get the shirt, you get the mug, you get the premium content over on the locals community. Is it going to go away? It usually goes away by now. Is it
No, I've never looked better.
I'm going to hit the button again. There we go. But anyway, guys, my locals community, you can actually get in for free. And oh, shoot. Now it's going to be acting up, isn't it? That's right. That stupid bell. That's where you can watch the member only show. Anyway, dang it. All right. Yep. It's going to be doing that now. Oh, no, I can't have it up here. Hold on. Let me fix it, guys. There we go. All right. That's all she wrote. Enjoy the ad.
Hi, I'm Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. This is a message for the people of America, given in my authentically recorded, non-AI voice. Thanks to my leadership over the last several years, California has become a world leader in extremist, left-wing governance. My policies were so effective that almost 1 million people are now fleeing the state every year. We even ran out of U-Hauls. During the COVID pandemic, I locked everyone in their homes and shut down businesses for months. Not the French Laundry, though. That's my favorite restaurant. Last year, I cleaned up the dangerous, messy streets of San Francisco, because Chinese Communist President Xi was coming, and I really wanted to impress him. He's my boss, after all. This year, I signed legislation that allows me to take custody of your kid if you refuse to give him artificial hormones and chop off his genitals. Because if you don't do that, you're a bigot, and bigots shouldn't be allowed to have kids. I've also led the way in green energy by banning all cars that don't run on electricity. Then I banned almost all the electricity. This is smart leadership. On my watch, the cost of living and homelessness have skyrocketed. Schools are failing. Drug dealers and human traffickers are pouring across the border. And poop has covered the sidewalks of San Francisco. This is the positive, joyful vision we offer as Democrats. That's why I'm enthusiastically endorsing Kamala Harris for president in 2024. She'll do to the country everything I did in California. Anyway, I'm California Governor Gavin Newsom, and I approve this 100% real message, which is a recording of my voice without the assistance of any AI whatsoever. This isn't a deep fake, and you can rest assured that it isn't, because I just signed an unconstitutional law outlawing deep fakes. No one would dare violate it. Thank you, and science bless America.